Greetings. So I left off last time talking about the run-ins with mental illness, my segue into college basketball, um, and this time I'm going to tell you about uh, one of the bigger surprises in my life. So my father had never seen me play organized sport, even though I played organized sports from the time I was 6 years old all the way up until um, that point in my life. The one chance he had to see me play an organized sport was football. I'll never forget. I was a It was Pee Wee League football. I was 8 years old, and he was taking me to my football game. And I was so excited. I played in front of my dad for the first time, and we got to the Brent Raiders football field, and I'll never forget. He looked at me and says, "Okay, what time am I going to pick you up?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? I have no clue. I have no clue what time it is. I don't have a watch. My mother takes me to the game. She stays, and then she brings me home. Not him. Then I got chastised for not having a watch and not being a good timekeeper and time teller while playing tackle football, full padded tackle football. I'm supposed to wear a watch and know what time it is, so I can tell him exactly when to drop me off and exactly when to pick me up. The expectations were out of this world, but that was just a total glimpse to what was going to happen to me later on in life with him, because it was never a thing where I felt there was nothing I could do to impress him, and it was everything to do that I could try to do to impress him. This is going to make him proud. This is going to make him love me. When he left, I of course blamed myself, and no one was there to stop me, and that took me years to undo. I finally undid through counseling, marriage counseling. My marriage counselor challenged me to get out of my comfort zone and confront him while he was still alive. So I rode my motorcycle over to his house. His stepdaughter answered the door, wouldn't let me in the house, so I was like, I'm not gonna leave until he comes home. So I sat in his front yard in all my full motorcycle gear in Orlando, Florida, in the heat, in the shade, waiting for him to come home. I'm like, I need to talk to you. Now, at this point, his heart had started to fail, gout, arthritis, all that good stuff has plagued his body, but his mind was still sharp. And he gotten remarried, and we sat in the front yard, and I asked him straight up, why did you leave? And he looked at me and he says, I don't have to tell you. I don't owe you an explanation. And the counselor had told me about this. The answer that you receive may not be the answer that you want to hear, but that is the answer. And that shook me to my core, because when I heard him say that, I said to myself, if you don't owe me an answer and an explanation, you don't owe Melanie, my sister, an explanation, you don't owe my mother an explanation, you don't owe anybody an explanation. You're absolved of all responsibility. That's my answer. The answer I got was not the answer I wanted. And then I started to think to it, what could he have said that would justify the action of a 9-year-old boy needing guidance in his life and having none? That moment, I went from feeling this oppressive, I need to do any and everything to make him love me, because that was the arc he put on the whole family. It was us trying to win his affection, when in reality it was bass backwards. It should have been a give and take, or him trying to support. Like it should have been a two-way street. It shouldn't. It wasn't bass. It should have been a two-way street. The love should have been reciprocated, and it wasn't. And again, I may sound bitter, but in reality, this is the consequence. You have emotions attached to situations. Once you confront them and stop giving them wings to fly around your life, that's when you get control of your life again. Those situations happened. I went through some shit. I survived. And I'm here to tell you about it. And I'm stronger for it. So there was an emotional attachment with it because there was a ton of grief, anger, frustration, and confusion with it because no one taught. There was no expectation of responsibility, of consequence. You were just supposed to man up and get on with your life. It was a different time. So I'm playing basketball at Stetson University. I find myself the starting center for the Stetson Hatters. Couldn't believe it. Wasn't that good. Was fearful, but also respectful. But I didn't have the awareness to have that much self-confidence. And it was a home game. I think one of the first home games against an actual opponent. And I got yanked out within the first 4 or 5 minutes because when I was warming up, went up in the air to do something, and out of the corner of my eye, immediately I saw this ragged figure limping in, and I knew who it was immediately. He never seen me play. He never seen me touch a basketball. He never seen me do anything athletic. And there he was. And my heart skipped a beat. A local family had adopted me. And these people were beautiful to me. And the lady came down and she worked in the athletic department. And she's like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "My father's here." I had the worst game of my life, getting just reamed out by my coach and everything else like that. Once again, you're expected to be this insane warrior. You're straight ahead. Nothing can get you off your path. I never experienced anything like that before. After the game, my father took me and my roommate out, and all he did was talk about the other team, the other players on my team. And my roommate was just so puzzled because he's like, "You're his son. You're on the Division I college basketball team. You're the starting center, and he can't say anything about your performance or you. He just talks about the other team and then what your other teammates did." So I didn't realize it, but again, at the time, I thought it was natural. Because again, I'm trying to impress him. I'm trying to make him proud of me. I'm trying to do all these things. It's not working. So I had to internalize all that, and he started showing up in my games. I think it was more of a thing of my mother probably contacted him and told him how bad things have gone because my sister and I needed support in college. So he started offering me a financial stipend every month. And then he would come and see me, and he was Jehovah's Witness, so he's constantly trying to convert me to be a Jehovah's Witness. I went to the Kingdom Hall and sat with him and all these things. Again, trying to win his affection. He would have these insane talks with me on this philosophical level, but something never jived with me. he would talk to me about being this great man and doing all these amazing things. And then I was always puzzled because I never got to receive his greatness. And then he had this standard of greatness for myself, but you could never show me what greatness was. So it was always puzzling to me. And I really started to begin to have a huge chip on my shoulder toward him, because you're constantly telling me about these amazing feats in your mind and in actions and things like that. I never received any of it. Hell, he wouldn't even tell me he loved me. It was not till much later we had a breakthrough and we were talking, and he said, "Love you," and like, oh my God, chilling. But then I stopped back again, now being a father, and I think to myself, well, what was his father showing him? Look at the time you came through. What did he know? You would have to be a very special individual to get outside of all of those things and encompass a new way of thinking for the time. A strong Southern black man in that time frame did not have those emotional outlets, nor the emotional maturity, nor the experience to do those things. And again, I keep referencing this. We're looking, and I was looking at events in the past with modern eyes. It looks like it's barbaric, it looks like it's archaic. But when you do that, yes, it always looks barbaric and archaic. But at the time, it was fitting for him and what was going on. You could call it an excuse and things like that. Oh, you do this. No. He did that. He did this. Like he should and he could have. This is what happened. And I'll mention this again. And I'm getting ahead of myself, jumping back and forth. But after he passed, angry as hell. This stuff would come flooding out of me. And I was at my job one day, and someone approached me and said something to me while I was out on my job. And they asked me what was wrong. I'm like, my father passed away, yada yada. Very upset and stuff. And the person could tell that I was angry. And the person looked me dead in the eye and they said, Milton, you're really angry at a dead man. And it stopped me full on. Changed my whole mind about what was going on. And I said, you're right. Because I have three tenets, and I'll say this over and over again. I have three things of worth and value in this world: my time, my love, and my forgiveness. I'm wasting my time on this earth being mad at a person that is no longer in existence as far as a physical body goes. If I have true forgiveness in my heart, then I need to actually forgive myself and forgive him. Because that is what the third thing encompasses, is love. That is the basis of all love. And I will tell you this over and over again. The beating heart of love is compromise. The blood that runs through those veins is communication. Those things being moral standards, values, things that I can adhere to help me out later on in life, I was violating them. and I had to give it up. The hatred in my heart, the disdain in my heart for what happened to me when I was a young man, for what happened to me when I was an older man, with him in my relationship with him, was fueling me. Why? When you actually slow life down and you reflect back on it, why? Why are you doing the things that you do not want to do? Why are you so invested in becoming the person that you do not want to be, that you do not respect? I stopped asking those what if questions. What if I did this? What if I did that? Now I just apply those questions to my life as if though life is questioning me. And I am personally responsible for answering those questions. And it's helped out tremendously. But that's way ahead in the story, in the progression of becoming. I have leaps and bounds to go, more tragedies to get over, and a wealth of suffering, self-inflicted and circumstantial, to grow through. Back at school, I found out, again, I can't study. Got put on an academic probation. I remember being in class thinking, I was ready for this test. I was in class, participating in all the lectures. I was front and center in the middle. I felt really good. I took notes on the lectures. I had a really good rapport with the professor. I got the test and I had to ask, is this the right test? It was so embarrassing. I didn't know about college tests. The test was from all the reading, volumes of reading that I was supposed to be doing outside of class. I didn't do that. Wouldn't crack a textbook open. Didn't need to, because I was from high school. I was aced about that. I could just listen in class, participate that way, do the homework, and I was money. Wasn't that way, not in college. They expected more of you, demanded more of you. You had a responsibility to become intelligent on your own. I didn't realize that. It was eye-opening. So, again, having to learn, start over again, learning to learn, and I barely scraped by. Get lit up by the academic advisors, get lit up by the professors, get lit up by my coaches, all this stuff. Be in study hall, just be cutting up, because the only thing I could think about was chasing girls and playing video games and basketball. That was my life. I wasn't seeing my teammates bust their tail behind the pen and pencil on a pad of paper. I wasn't seeing my teammates bust their tail in the computer lab. I wasn't seeing how they went to class all the time, because the first time I remember waking up and not going to class, it felt terrible, but then it felt weird because no one was telling me to get up, get dressed, brush my teeth, put on deodorant, and go to class. And I felt like I was slick until the teacher called the coach. Then that's your ass. So you learn quickly if you're smart. Wasn't smart. I felt I was entitled. So I do just enough to get by. Never really apply myself. More struggles were ahead for me, and I did not realize. Again, self-inflicted wounds. But those self-inflicted wounds are some of the ones that you grow the most from. Well, and I'll speak about that next time. Thank you for your time and effort. And again, I challenge you to be the reason someone smiles today. Take care.